Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. So I wanted to cover this story and I was a bit reluctant to cover it at first because I'm wondering what's going on. Is this true? I've heard about this phenomenon for, a couple of years now, but I've never actually seen examples of it. So I'm talking about furries, and apparently this is causing quite a disruption in a Utah school to the point where the school students walked out in protest. Yesterday I did a video about a group of middle school girls protesting having to compete against a male athlete, and today's story is about kids protesting furries, people who dress up as animals, and they are saying that these kids are given special treatment. They're not all treated equally. The furries, everybody has to walk on eggshells to appease these people, allegedly. And they're sick of it. So they walked out. It's happened last week. And it's just absolutely bizarre. Now, there's people who are going to say that this isn't true, or it's exaggerated perhaps. Maybe it is exaggerated. But I do remember a story I did when I first started this channel. A couple of girls who were in year 9, I believe, and they're about 13, 14 years of age. And they got in trouble with a particular woke teacher who didn't like the fact that they weren't going along with addressing somebody as a cat. One of their classmates thought she was a cat. One of them said that, it's a sign of that something's not quite right. And they got in trouble for that. They got reprimanded. And the teacher basically berated them and said that they're not tolerant and they're all sorts of phobics just because they didn't want to go along with seeing their classmate as a cat. And one of them even said that, as an adult, you shouldn't be going along with it. You shouldn't be going along with this delusion. She's not a cat, and the rest of the class doesn't have to tiptoe around her to appease her identity. Then I was hearing stories about litter boxes in bathrooms. Again, I don't know if that's true, but those stories were put out there that some schools allowed litter boxes in the bathrooms to appease these students who thought they were cats. And you know what? It wouldn't surprise me, because we have gone so far down the whole identity route that people have lost their minds. Apparently, though, you can't identify as a different race. Oh, that's ridiculous. But you can identify as a different sex, different age. Now, as we've seen over in Canada with the 50-year-old identifying as a 13-year-old girl, 50-year-old man, people are bending over backwards to appease this man, allowing him into the changing rooms, into the showers with 13-year-old girls, because that's how he identifies. So it doesn't surprise me if we've got kids out here wanting to be cats, wanting to be, fluffy animals, and the school going along with it. It wouldn't surprise me. And so they're called furries, and apparently there's a whole community of these people. It's a thing. But unfortunately, it's affecting our schools. And we know that our schools have enough problems. So these students in Utah, clearly they have had enough, and they're making sure that people know about it.
Sarah, what's this all about?
All right, Brian. Well, the term furry, it refers to someone interested in animals with human qualities. Now, they dress up like this as a cartoon version of an animal. Now, we've learned there have been reports at Nebo Middle School that students are getting mistreated over this topic.
There was some kids dressed up as animals, and I heard that another kid got bit by one of them.
There's a lot of speculation surrounding the protest that happened at Nebo Middle School Wednesday morning. Nearly 75 students and parents showed up facing the school, saying they're unhappy with how administration is handling reports of harassment.
Okay.
You guys cannot record me without my permission!
This is video a Nebo Middle School student took last week. Parents say there's an issue between some students and others who call themselves furries, or people who enjoy dressing up as cartoonish animals.
Back when I went to school, you couldn't dress that way, you couldn't do certain things, and I think it kind of needs to go back a little bit. Like, I know kids need their own personalities, but it's ridiculous when kids are dressing like animals and licking and biting people. I just don't think that's okay.
But the Nebo School District tells us it's not that extreme. Seth Sorensen says no one was scratching or biting anyone, and that there are a lot of untrue rumors going around.
It actually is not something that's been occurring. In fact, a lot of the information that's been put out there is completely incorrect and inaccurate, and so we're still trying to get on top of that.
Thank you.
This is Strudel, a member of the furry fandom. Though they've been a furry for over a decade, they have their own opinions.
It's crazy that it's escalated to this point where these kids are being so distracting to their peers that their peers want to stage a walkout, or to have, the next generation kind of muddy our name and not represent it very well. It is kind of disappointing.
Strudel believes there should be some limits.
Continue doing things you like, continue dressing up, continue making art, but maybe let's keep it outside of school hours.
As for the school, Sorensen says they have one main goal.
We want every student to feel safe when they come to school, and we want students to get along. In fact, we want adults to get along.
Okay, so the district says they've worked with some students whose dress and appearance they say might be disruptive to the school environment. They say they do invite parents to talk with administration to learn more about how they're handling the situation.
Well, I agree with Strudel there. This needs to be kept out of school hours. Schools need to have dress codes. I know in the US you don't wear uniforms, so I grew up wearing school uniform, and it was a lot more straightforward if you ask me. But here, there's no uniform, but there should be a dress code, meaning you don't show up to school looking like you're a Disney World character. It's inappropriate for school. This is common sense. It should not be allowed. So there shouldn't be even one student going around dressed like that, like a furry animal. Absolutely not. Unless it's Halloween and that's part of, it's costume day or whatever. Okay. But on an everyday basis, this sort of thing shouldn't exist in school. Kids need to focus on their schoolwork. They need to focus on what they're there to do, which is to learn. If it's true that administrators are going along with this, as absolutely disgraceful, even if it is exaggerated a little bit, if there's some semblance of this going on, it needs to be shut down. But I am hearing of schools going along with this, and I'm inclined to believe that there's some truth to it. There's some truth to the issue of schools appeasing people's identity, appeasing people's, desire to dress up a certain way. So this was a planned walkout. The students say that their parents were aware that they were going to walk out, and they obviously got their voices heard because the media picked up on it. So the protest lasted for hours, and the thing that triggered it was the physical assaults that were taking place. The alleged assaults, people getting bitten, people getting hit. And the students claim that the teachers didn't do anything about it because it's one rule for them and another rule for everyone else, allegedly. A furry is anyone with a strong interest in anthropomorphic animals. Enthusiasts often don full-body animal costumes and gather at furry conventions. Okay, so this is people who share that particular interest. It may not necessarily be a situation of somebody identifying as an animal. I have heard of that, and I do think it does happen, but in this case, it's a thing, where people like to dress a certain way. So we had Strudel there, even condemning, people who take this interest and take it to school and use it to cause trouble. Around 75 parents and students gathered on the sidewalk by the school campus, holding up posters with messages ranging from compelled speech is not free speech to stop brainwashing us. The demonstration was preceded by a change.org petition titled Students for Humans at School, Not Animals, aka Furries, that went live on Sunday. While the initial target was 500 signatures, the campaign quickly racked up more than 1,000 of them. The petition had received over 1,430 signatures. It calls for stronger enforcement of Section 381 of the district's dress code, which prohibits elements of a student's appearance that draw undue attention, distract, disrupt, or otherwise interfere with the learning atmosphere at school. Examples provided are jewelry, accessories, tattoos, hair, and facial hair. Please help us in taking care of our children's well-being and safety while at school. The petition begs. So this is definitely something. I mean, this is a petition that people have signed. Over 1,000 people have signed this petition. I don't believe they're making this up. I really don't. And parents also joined the protest. So I don't believe this is a made up thing. This is absolutely embarrassing. This is unacceptable. And the school district that is allowing this needs to be held to account.
Yes, but every time they go, they're always just wearing a mask. But the principal finally stood up and banned those stuff. But they still wear them every day. Yeah, and they don't get in trouble. The principal doesn't make them get in trouble. Yeah. All the principal says is just be kind, be nice, be nice. And then
what's the point of dressing up like a furry?
It's just, I don't know. They think they're so cool that they want to get a lot of attention. They want attention. So people can come at them and just look at them to think that they're so cool.
Okay.
Also,
are you guys going to be in trouble for walking out of school today?
No, maybe. We might. If we go back on school grounds, we will get in trouble. Hopefully not. We're standing for everything. We're standing for what the furries are wrong. This is wrong. They should not be doing this.
Your parents know you guys are out here?
Yes.
Okay.
They attack us. They fight us and we just kick them. We get in trouble. They attack us. They attack us and we get in trouble.
Okay, how else do they attack you guys?
They either bite us, they scratch us, they pounce on us. They pounce on us. And then they run on all fours and pounce on all fours.
Why are they spraying you with Febreze?
Just because we apparently have rabies. And there's a rumor that they were putting litter boxes in the girls' bathroom. And they started putting litter boxes.
I heard that was just a rumor.
No, it's true.
Is this something you've seen?
Yeah, they're putting litter boxes in the bathroom. So we can't talk or say anything to the furries or even look at them, but they can come look at us and they can say stuff to us and touch us. And they don't get in trouble, but we get in trouble.
Interesting. That sounds like a double standard to me.
Yes.
Okay, you guys stay on the sidewalk.
So, I mean, this is just one of those things that there's not really much else you can say other than how absurd the situation is. And again, as crazy as it sounds, and, you know, some may laugh at this, why are kids having to deal with this nonsense? They said the litter box situation is real, according to these kids. And, you know, I do believe them. I do believe them. Maybe there are some exaggerations because these stories are very easy to exaggerate, obviously. But I do believe there's a lot of truth to what they're saying. I mean, they walked out of class. Their parents are there with them. They're protesting. They've got over 1,000 signatures. You know, so the school didn't really say that it's not true, did they? They were just implying that the whole thing's been exaggerated, you know. The adults in charge need to do better. The adults in charge need to live in reality. The adults in charge should be there to make sure that the focus is on education. The focus is on nurturing these children so they can grow up to be productive members of society. I would like to think that when you go to work, you're not going to be allowed to dress up as a furry cat, as a furry dog. You're not going to be allowed to dress up like that. So let's start instilling that in our young people in school so that they're prepared for the real world. Don't even get me started on all this special treatment. And Vivek Ramaswamy, he called it the tyranny of the minority. It seems to be a common theme today. So Seth Sorensen, he's a spokesperson for the Nebo School District, and he said that all of this started because a message was sent out to parents and there was something that was misinterpreted. The spokesperson is saying that this is just a misunderstanding. These are people who might wear a headband with some cat ears or whatever. Apparently, it's a misunderstanding or a huge exaggeration. I mean, it would have to be a huge exaggeration for people to take someone wearing a headband and then put out a story about kids dressing up as furry animals and being part of the furry community. So on Twitter or X, some people had a lot to say about this, as you can imagine. As a furry, fursuiting can be a fun and creative outlet hobby. However, this distracting behaviour takes things too far and shouldn't be allowed in the classroom. Schools should foremost be a place of education and learning for all students. And Someone said, hard to believe that this is a real story, but here we are. Conservative podcast host Cash Lauren stated. Another ex-user noted the sordid history associated with the furry community, writing, furries was an adult S fetish back in the day. I actually remember seeing an episode of the show Real SEX on HBO about it. Wow. I would say it's best that these things are left out of school and that administrators, school teachers do not encourage it. I mean, when I went to school, you show up in an outfit that went against the dress code, you were sent home. But let me know what you think. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe. Take care of yourselves, and God willing, I will see you in the next video.